Nobody speaks upon the average man as if he's special at all. He has to have all of these accreditations. He has to have all of these things just to be considered.
And what I think the disconnect for me and those men is I don't need a man to do anything for me but love me. And I think that's a dynamic that is really difficult for a lot of men because men were not raised to be interesting.
Welcome to another episode of 5elfcheckout. I'm your humble and gracious host, Check. This is a male-dominant space for social awareness, relationships, and overall shit talking. Today's video comes from the Too Personal podcast with Joy Taylor. Now, she's not one of my personal favorites, but apparently her podcast continues to go viral, so gotta review a video at some point in time. And of course, every video that I review online has to be deemed either staged or trolling until proven otherwise, simply because people get online and say absolutely anything. Now, I don't foresee that being an issue in this video because it is a professional setting, but hey, you never know. Before we get into today's video, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. That way, every time we drop a video, you can get the first dibs, plus you help the channel grow. That being said, let's get right into it.
That's where I kind of go into.
What do you think of the male loneliness epidemic?
Why you say epidemic?
We're going to talk about it.
It's a real thing. I got 6 brothers. You understand me? So I can see how, and they all of different ages. So I can see how, right, this new technological cultural age that we're going through has affected them. I can look at my friend groups, I can look at peers, and then I travel around the world speaking to men, and they confide in me of what's going on. Sometimes what they tell me is what they don't tell me at the same time. And I can tell you that the average man, let's say this, just the average man who wants to live and be respected and loved in society, nobody speaks upon the average man as if he's special at all. Mm-hmm. You understand me? He has to have all of these accreditations, right? Mm-hmm. He has to make all this money. He has to be a certain height. He has to be a certain type. He has to have all of these things just to be considered in conversation, right? And so it makes him feel invisible, right? And then when he goes to places, he's not treated, just with common decency a lot of times,
Facts.
Right? A lot of times he gets blamed for the whole patriarch when he's just trying to get him a donut or something coming into the store. It's like, damn. So I think that amongst that on social media has him comparing himself to unreal expectations.
Right.
Right. Mentally, financially, and physically. Right. So I think that men are disconnected from themselves. Right. Because Hollywood and social media has curated all these ideas of what it means to be a man. Right. So a man doesn't even know if he is anymore.
Let me stop it really quickly. This young man is saying all the right things. He is hitting every single part of it because that's the whole motion. That's the whole movement. It's not that we want anything more outside of common decency. And any man speaking on certain situations when it involves men, especially the male loneliness epidemic, and I did quotation marks because Joy Taylor did it because she doesn't believe that it's real. We're speaking for the average man, and the average man isn't asking for much. He wants love, respect, and to be treated like a human being. And they can't get that because they don't have all these accolades and all this money and all this status. And it's like, bro, like, I get it, but I'm still a normal human being. We don't speak up enough for the average man. Understanding that the average man is what helps the world continue to go around. They're the ones that they're your garbage men. They're your Amazon delivery drivers. They're your recycle people. They're your police officers. These are average men. They're your teachers. The female part of society treats them like they're absolutely nothing. And men like him and men like me are in a position to stand up for those men. Because I say this all the time. I'm a normal guy. Have I had more experience than the average individual? Possibly. But I still, in my mind at least, I'm still a normal guy. But I also understand that there's certain things that I've experienced, there's certain things that I've acquired. There's a certain level of understanding that I get from the public where they would consider me not to be average. But at the end of the day, I relate most to the average man. And that's who I speak for. Because I can easily step outside of myself and speak for somebody that doesn't have the same things that I've had. But let's continue.
Because was it being a man when Hollywood gave me a version of the gangster or the pimp, right? Or, James Bond, right? To certain people. It was all these ideas. If I'm not a drinker or a smoker, or if I'm not a tough guy, It was never like position manhood. It's like you can be an average intellectual man and you're masculine and that's enough of being yourself.
Yes.
So I think the loneliness epidemic is real and that's the most vulnerable population.
The loneliness epidemic is definitely real, and it's because the standard that women have set for men, honestly, it's not obtainable, truly. And if it is, it's by a very, very small population of men. So it's not even realistic to place this on everybody. We want to set a bar, we want to set a standard that's actually obtainable with effort. And he's right. society also has painted out this scenario or this stereotype where if you're not doing specific things, then you're no longer a man. I don't want to be the drug dealer. I don't want to be the tough guy. I don't want to be the super millionaire. I don't want to be the pimp. I don't want to be none of those. I just want to be a normal guy that lives a normal life. Why can't I be that and still be a man? So I fully understand their frustrations and why they're even experiencing loneliness, because like you can't even find somebody that's going to relate to you on a normal level. In dating today, it's so difficult to just have a conversation with the average woman. Every woman thinks they're a 10. Every woman thinks that they deserve the absolute most. And when you're not giving the absolute most, or if you are not the absolute most, then you don't deserve anything. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Let's hear what Joy Taylor has to say.
I think there's a lot of layers to it. I think when it's the reason I do the epidemic thing is
Because you mean to men?
I am mean to men.
I seen that clip. Don't
I
be
am
mean
mean
to
to
men.
That's crazy.
I'm really proud of being mean to men, actually. though.
That's crazy.
I'm not
work.
mean to you.
I know. But that's an outlier. You
Exactly.
understand me? I don't exist. I'm not a statistic. I'm an anomaly.
Yes, of course.
Exactly.
That's why I say that I champion the average man, because those are the ones who need it.
Yes.
You feel me? I've always had certain privileges in life, right? Just because of the way that I see myself, the way that I think, my ability to communicate, my level of attractiveness, whatever
Yes.
it may be, I feel like I've always had privileges. So I speak outside of myself.
From a woman's perspective, I don't like to speak on what men experience because I'm not a man. I only have my experience with men. And I have brothers and I have nephews and I have many men in my life and I adore them. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. This generation of women is one of the most unique generations in history, at least in modern times, because this is truly the first generation of women that have any kind of autonomy over their bodies, over their ability to make money, over their ability to be entrepreneurs. You don't have to have a man to get a credit card. You don't have to get a man's approval to start a business like this. When you are financially independent from men, it creates a different dynamic on the lowest end and the highest end, because there was a time where you had to have a man to have a roof over your head to exist.
You know how long ago this was? To need a man to get a credit card, to need a man to open a business, to need a man to even have a roof over your head. You know how long ago that was? They are holding on to certain narratives that they have overcome years ago, because she opened up the statement by saying that women, this is the first generation of women that actually have autonomy over a number of things. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, no, women have had autonomy over a number of things for over 20 plus years. What is she even talking about? Let's finish.
As a citizen, you had to be with a man, and not just like claimed, you had to be married and then like immediately make children, whether you wanted to be a mother or not, whether you were fit to be a mother or not. Like there are just a lot of things that define women that are not in existence right now in totality. And the connection to men has become a different demand. Now, this is my experience. And the women who are close to me. I'm not speaking for all women. I'm just giving my opinion on what my experiences are and the women who are around me are experiencing, because I talk about it all the time. I literally had a conversation on the way here today with my girlfriend about this. And what I think the disconnect for me and those men is twofold. One, I don't need a man to do anything for me but love me.
Sounds nice.
I can love myself, but I can't love myself in the way that a partner will love you.
That's kind of unbeliever.
Like love. I don't need you to feed me. I don't need you to put a roof over my head. I need you to protect me, but in the sense that you like protect a partner, not like safety in the world. And I think that's a dynamic that is really difficult for a lot of men, because men were not raised to be interesting. Like you just had to show up and have money, and that was like enough, or show up and be tall, or like be from the right family. And that's just not the case anymore. The other part of it is, I think the propaganda that those men that you're talking about are being fed is that women like me are the reason that they are not happy, which is not true.
You're a part of
in
the problem.
totality, unless I'm mean to you, of course.
That's a part of the problem.
I know I just threw a lot at you.
No, I can.
We're going to stop it right there. She concludes by saying that the men that are experiencing the loneliness epidemic think that women like Joy Taylor are the reason why they're experiencing it. And she says it's not true. Then turns around and say, but you know what? I am mean to men. You are a part of the problem. You treat men less based on how much they have done with their life. So if they're not somebody of power, if they're not making a certain amount of money, if they don't look a certain way, if they don't speak a certain way, think a certain way, you treat them like shit. You are a part of the problem. You contradicted yourself. This is exactly why I stay away from certain conversations, because they literally just get on here and say nothing. They contradict themselves in ways that are just so apparent. It's like so dead in our face. It's like, how are you listening to yourself? Do you hear yourself speaking right now? Do women have autonomy over their body? Has the dynamic of men and women changed because the desires that women have of men are changing as well based on their autonomy? Sure, I can agree to that. If now women are providing for themselves, then we're now having to redirect and figure out new ways to interact with women. But that doesn't now mean you got to treat me like less because you make money too. It doesn't have to be a me versus you. You make money, I make money, great. Let's prioritize properly. Let's build something together. Let's figure it out. But when you stop doing that because you feel like you either make the same or more than a person, it's no longer about the money. It's simply an abuse of power. That shit she said about, oh, I don't need nothing from a man just to love me, that's cap. I don't believe it, not even a little bit. But you know what? The moral of the story is, choose someone that chooses you and that also understands that despite who makes more money doesn't determine who has the power in the relationship. Y'all keep the change.